we're back. Let's get into the top gaming news of last week. We have to start with all the news from the PlayStation Showcase. Boy, we talked about, we speculated what they could show, but man, last week, but they did an awesome job.
Yeah?
I give it a 9.5. I give it a Psychonauts 2.
Yeah, did they show some good stuff? I don't recall. Did they have anything that was like new and exciting and things that were surprising and all that? No. They had an amazing show. This should have been their E3.
And if it was, to be fair, if it was, but where would you rank this with with Nintendo and Microsoft?
It would have been a 3-horse race. Because
really,
I was saying at least Xbox and Nintendo killed it. Sony was obviously not really in the running until way late. They had an okay show to be fair. It was all right. If this was their E3, my God, because even
we didn't hear anything from Sony. We got a State of Play a month later, and State of Play, as we know, is just like a direct mini, just sort of updates on things we already know about. A showcase, which was 40 minutes long. We're gonna get new game announcements, right? It's gonna be something blockbuster, and they did not disappoint. They started the show off with Knights of the Old Republic remake, like. That's a mic drop moment in itself, right? And this was a game that was an Xbox exclusive.
Xbox and PC. Well, BioWare was owned by Microsoft at the time, so everything was on their console and PC.
Yeah. And this is a timed console exclusive. It's coming to the PS5 and the PC. We didn't get any gameplay. We didn't get any. Much of a we didn't get any cinematic trailer, really. We just got the remake is in the works. The worst kept secret is out. It's happening. And I'm looking forward to playing it, right? Because, some of the mechanics in the original game, we try to go back and play it on the original Xbox, which I do have both, 1 and 2.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe don't hold up to today, right? So I'm looking forward to see what this is. And they're saying this is, by all accounts, this is a soup to nuts remake from the ground up, right? Like Resident Evil 2.
Well, I wonder if they're going to keep because they had 2 modes. There was the turn-based mode where you'd kind of like stop at everything and give everybody orders and then let that play out, or you could play in real time, which was instant death because it wasn't made for that, and you would just die right away. So I wonder if they're going to even have that kind of stop turn-based like the original was, which I would argue it still holds up. It's a little bit janky in the animation and all that, but I think it still works for what it is. I don't know. I would definitely challenge that the game doesn't hold up. But
okay, well, it's still weird to say that like an Xbox exclusive, right?
Is coming to PlayStation.
It's coming to PlayStation and being a PlayStation exclusive. We don't know. It's a timed exclusive. We're going to speculate and say maybe it's like a year, 6 months to a year, right?
I would say
it has to be something significant for it to be an exclusive. Then why would Sony pay the money if it's not like a significant amount of time, right?
Right. Yeah. So typically a half year, I think is. We saw that with.
And we don't even know when this is coming out. Right, because we didn't see any gameplay. So this could be a game that's in 2023, 2024.
Right.
So if you have an Xbox, you may not see it to 2024, 2025.
Yeah. So. Well, I mean, I think you're right. You said it's going to be like Resident Evil 2, where it's a soup to nuts remake. Yeah. It's not just going to be a simple remaster.
So, yeah, I'm looking forward to playing this. Right. I mean, this is. Thousands of years before the Skywalker saga.
That's right.
Before there was a Darth Vader, before there was an Anakin Skywalker, before there were the prequels.
It's Darth Revan and Darth Malak. Those are the two guys that play. And the turn in that game, oh my God!
Don't know it. Don't tell me. Don't spoil
I'm
it.
not.
Don't spoil it.
Oh, this guy, now he doesn't want things spoiled for him. Now he's like, I want to go in fresh.
Time out.
You're always like, I don't care. It doesn't matter. I already looked up the ending to the game. Now you're like, nah, I want to see what it is. I would never do that to you. I would never do that to you.
I could tell you how Returnal ends. I already know the story.
All right. Well, see, I don't know why.
Don't spoil that to
I would never. But, and I don't know if the turn is going to be as surprising this time around. I think it still would. I was very surprised at the time. My jaw was on the floor. I was like, holy shit. Okay. It was wild. And that's all I'll say. I'll leave it at that.
Now you make me want to dust off the original Xbox and play it now.
I mean, you could, man. You could.
So I don't have to wait. I don't have to wait 3 years for the next, for this to come out.
Mm-hmm.
And again, they started the showcase started off strong. We got Knights of the Old Republic remake. Mm-hmm. Then we got Project Eve, which I personally think is still a working title. I don't know if this is going to be the final title of the game, right?
Yeah,
Project Eve, like a lot of games that have project in them never end up being called Project, right?
True.
So this is made by Shift Up Corporation. Mm-hmm. Apparently we've seen this game like 2 years prior, right? It was at E3 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
It was more so shown in a smaller scale, but now they really bigged it up because it sort of started. It helped start the showcase.
Mm-hmm.
I thought when we saw this originally, because they didn't have the name up or who was making it, I thought this was like an expansion to Final Fantasy VII.
Oh,
it gave me Final Fantasy VII remake vibes, right? Just the world, the crazy world, and then as a female protagonist, and she's badass, kicking ass, and still kind of in a sexy vibe. So it's like Bayonetta in Final Fantasy VII.
Oh yeah. I love that the first scene was like a shot of the butt, right? It was just her butt, and I'm like, okay, this is what this game is.
You could be sexy and badass at the same time.
Female empowerment, sure, 100%. But yeah, man, I'm kind of looking forward. I'm kind of looking.
It's
forward
very Japanese. I'm looking forward to this. I was super hyped. And then we sort of took a turn where I kind of was like, I don't know if I'm really into this. It was Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, right? I know for you Borderlands people, this is a game for you, right? This is just this is more giving you more of this DLC that came out for Borderlands 2 or 3.
Yeah,
2,
Borderlands
right? Yeah.
Borderlands 2 had it, yeah. And
it's more of fantasy, Borderlands in the fantasy world.
Well, the conceit is Tiny Tina is running a D&D campaign. So she's the dungeon master, and then you go into the game world playing as the fantasy archetypes, right? So the wizard, the fighter, the thief, the whatever. But you're also running around with guns. So
yeah.
And they mentioned that in the trailer. It's like, it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. It's a fantasy game with lots of guns.
Yeah. So we saw this I think 2019.
No, I think we first saw it last year. Oh, this year in E3. We saw it at Gearbox's E3 event. That was like their big game, and then we saw it. No, we first saw it at Jeff Keighley's E3 sort of showcase, and then we saw it at Borderlands E3 showcase.
Yeah, there was something at you know what it was? 2020 at PAX East. There was the card game that they had.
Yes.
Right, that was the thing, yeah. And then like Kiwi broke the new Tiny Tina thing.
Yeah.
So that's awesome.
Remember during E3 we said, why even have it at Jeff Keighley's thing if you're going to have your own? And this is like the big game that you're working on. Then why even have it at Jeff Keighley's thing? You should just save it for your own E3 showcase.
That's right. Their Gearbox presentation was woof.
Was terrible. Other than
there was
Kevin
nothing
Hart,
there,
which was a little awkward because he's just like, I don't play games. I don't know what Borderlands is, but I'm gonna be hot in the movie.
Yep.
Like why?
Yeah. Yeah. That was the biggest thing. The behind the scenes look at the Borderlands movie.
So then we got more of a cinematic trailer behind. I'm super into the story now of Forspoken, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like now. I told you I just popped in Life is Strange Colors, which is published by Square, and that Square has sort of like I would call like a double A game, and it doesn't feel like a triple A game for Spoken. And we got a little bit about what Forspoken was supposed to be about last year, all right? So now we got a little bit more. We got a little bit more backstory. She's from New York, as a female protagonist, and she's from New York. She wants sort of an adventure and somehow gets sucked into this world. And she has like the rings on her arms that are talking to her, and this is giving her power in this new world. So I'm kind of really into this, right? What was Gary Whitta is a writer on this game.
Sure. Former, I think, executive of PC Gamer magazine from back in the day.
Former executive of PC Gamer magazine. He has writing credits on Star Wars. What was the prequel to? It wasn't a numbered Star Wars.
Rogue One.
Rogue One. Yes, he has credits for writing. On Rogue One.
He's very good.
He is a contributor to Kind of Funny Games. He's actually on their Xbox podcast because he's more so of an Xbox fan. So he has credits for Spoken, right? And the writing. He helped build the world out. He didn't build the actual story of the main protagonist, but he helped do world building in the game. So I'm looking forward. Actually, this trailer got me more hyped for Forspoken than any other trailer that we've seen already.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah. I mean,
she's from New York. I gotta support her.
Of course.
We're New Yorkers. I gotta support her.
She was real amped to be in the game world. A little fourth wall breaking. Like what the hell? Where am I right now? I can fly. I have these special powers. Like, yeah. It was pretty.
Felt. You know what it felt like? To be honest, it felt like Infamous in a fantasy world. I know.
Okay. Yeah.
Obviously, Infamous is a fantasy world because it's a video game.
Right.
It was the set piece was a city. So it felt like she was, like sort of Infamous set in like a desert, like a desolate, post-apocalyptic world.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. I mean, it looked beautiful. It's a nice conceit. Right.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see how it plays out, No release date yet, right? I don't think
no
they said.
Release date. Yeah, no, that's a theme throughout this. That's the one negative I have on this, as far as all the games that are being shown, right? Because we don't know. We don't have a window for Knights of the Old Republic. We don't have a window for Project Eve. Project Eve is probably still like a 2023 game, I would believe, right? Like it's not coming out next year because they would have gave a 2022 window release if that was the case.
Right.
So, for Spoken in that same boat, I think that's a 2023 game, right? When PlayStation 5s are readily available,
right?
Probably going to be at the end of next year. That's when these games will be available, right? In the beginning of the year after. So
yeah, so you're not missing much right now if you don't have a console because you can't.
Well, you're missing Returnal, Ratchet and Clank, and Returnal, Ratchet and Clank, and some other games that we'll talk about.
Yeah.
Then they talked about Rainbow Six Extraction. That's coming out January of 2022, right?
Yep.
That's Rainbow Six with monsters.
Yeah.
I'm sure Tom Clancy is sort of rolling over in his grave because
it's whatever.
He never wrote any. I don't, to my knowledge, all his books have nothing to do with monsters. It's all
but he writes like he writes like pop fiction about the the government and secret agencies and these like Jack Bauer type guys. Yeah. So
we got that. This actually, the next game was actually leaked maybe 2 days prior, and they officially said it was coming. It was actually coming, which kind of ruined a little bit of the surprise from the showcase. I wish they wouldn't have said that and just stay out there.
The only thing that was actually leaked, right? To be fair.
Yeah. Alan Wake Remastered. Right?
Yep.
It's coming out. It's coming out in like 4 weeks. It's coming out. It's October 5th. Right? It's an October game. It's a remastered. I believe this is actually coming out on Xbox and the PS5. So if you haven't played the original Alan Wake, it's it's sort of like one of those first nerdy games where you get to play as in like a nerdy author.
Right. Doesn't he have like the flashlight that's like your main weapon? He has
a flashlight that's like it's not a weapon. It's mostly the flashlight keeps the monsters away, right? But you do have a gun. You do have guns.
Oh,
right?
you do?
To keep your bullets. Yeah. It's more of a survival. It has a survival horror type vibe, right? And if your flashlight goes out, the monsters are coming out, and you have to find light to keep them away, right? So and it has like Psycho vibes because it's like a hotel that's across the street from this diner. I played Alan Wake, I want to say a couple of years ago when we first started the show, and it was like a part of I don't not PS Plus because it's an Xbox game. A part of like Xbox
Live
Gold.
Yeah, games with gold. Yeah.
Games with gold before I even had the before I had the physical, I believe. I could be wrong. You have to go back and listen to our show like 4 years ago.
All right.
I played it. I don't like spooky games. I think I played like 3-4 hours and I was done. I was like, I got stuck somewhere. I didn't have any batteries for my flashlight, and I didn't want to go through, running through with a shotgun, in a desolate motel at night. I'm good. But I thought the mechanic was great, but I'm not playing this by myself. I'm good. No, not doing that. Yeah, I know I'm wearing a black shirt, but I'm not into the spooky game.
Not into the occult. No,
not so into that.
All right, fair enough.
So, will I pick this up? I don't know. This is probably a game I'm not going to pick up, and I say that now and get it the day after it comes out.
Oh, Dan, there's a mental bet in my head. There's a mental Shake Shack bet in my head, and I always win because you always say, "I don't know if I'm going to get." Yeah, you're going to get it. You're going to get it.
Okay, I'm not paying $70 for this game. I'll put it that way.
I'm aware, but you're still going to get it.
I'll pay 30.
Yeah. You may even get it for 40 or 50. I don't know, because you'll go, $20 deal, and I get it. I do the same thing. I'm gonna get it because it's on sale.
Well, all right. Well, a game you know what? You don't have to make a Shake Shack bet. I'll make a Shake Shack bet. I am not buying this game because I already own this game. All right, and that's GTA 5. Yes.
Now, how many copies do you own? Do you own the PlayStation 3?
I own
the Xbox 360.
I own the PlayStation
PC
3
version.
I own the PlayStation 3 and the Xbox One versions of GTA 5. And yes, a game that came out on PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 originally is now getting a release.
2013. Yep.
PS5.
Yep.
And I'm sure Xbox Series X coming out in March 2022. Yeah. I'm not buying this. I already own this game.
No, why would anybody buy
new
this?
Content. It's just upgrades.
Right. It's for all the new kids out there who want. I mean, I don't even think the upgrades are going to be that substantial anyway. Maybe it's a resolution bump, and maybe there's some better anti-aliasing, maybe some better lighting effects. I don't think it's going to be much. The bump from the 360 to the Xbox One, or the PS3 to the PS4, was, I think, pretty substantial. And that's the one that I played. I played the Xbox One version of it.
But that made sense, right?
Right, because it was the end of that generation. Yeah.
That came out in 2013 for the end and the start. The end of the generation beforehand, and then the start of last generation, right? So it made sense to, hey, we're going to release a PS4 and Xbox One version. Put out GTA 6 already. Like, this is ridiculous. They still making money hand over fist for GTA 5, and that's why we're getting this.
Yeah. It's the money move.
Then we got Ghostwire Tokyo, an extended gameplay trailer. It looked awesome if you're into sort of survivor horror games. I'm not. It's a little weird to say that, this and then Deathloop. We got another Deathloop trailer that's coming out next week. As of this, when you're listening to us record this show on Tuesday, that game is coming out this week, right?
Yep. Yeah, it's supposed to be out last holiday.
Yeah. So game, this is Xbox Game Studios, right? This is an official Xbox first-party studio coming out. This is the last of it. Ghostwire Tokyo and Deathloop coming out on the PS5. They will be timed exclusives by all accounts, right? So Ghostwire Tokyo looks good. It is essentially, again, like survival horror in Tokyo. Not really my thing. I'll buy it when it's out on discount. But it's good to know that, it's Microsoft isn't just like phoning it in and saying you could just release it, screw it, right? And then, when the bugs are fixed, we put it out on the Xbox.
Oh, yeah, you don't want to do a Cyberpunk situation, no.
Yeah, this has been delayed until 2022.
Yeah, so I almost thought this was that Capcom game that we saw at E3 where There was the girl in the spacesuit, and she was in New York City.
Yes, I remember that.
Game.
Yes,
it's not that game though, and I'm curious what's going on with that game and where that's at because that looks super cool. So this is not that. This is different, but they both look awesome. Both games are kind of high on my list.
Then we got Guardians of the Galaxy trailer, right? That's coming out October 26th. I don't want to see this trailer. If there's the rumored Nintendo Direct that's coming out, I don't want to see this trailer again. We know it's going to be streamed on the Switch, but I am definitely buying this game because I like Guardians of the Galaxy. I knew who they were before the movie, right? Because I was a big comic book and trading card nerd back in the early 90s when when I was a kid. So I knew who they were. I'm big on this. I love this. I wanna play this, right? So I'm probably gonna get this on the PlayStation or maybe the Xbox. I don't really care. I'm not gonna stream it on the Switch. So
I mean, you could though. Yeah, your internet connection's good.
Yeah, I'm not gonna do that, but I'm looking forward to buying. I'm looking forward to this game. I know people are disappointed because it doesn't have the one-to-one characters from the movies, right?
No, I mean they can't
from the movies.
They can't. Yeah, they
want to, but it would cost too much money.
Oh, the licensing would be high. Yeah. Then you'd have to get them to voice act again, and that's a whole thing. And you can't have the likeness without the voice. Yeah,
I'm sure they would, but they want to do the Spider-Man, the sort of Spider-Man route and do like an original story by them, like something that they could do by themselves.
Right.
Honestly, I think this is a game that would have benefited coming out after the third movie, right? That they're working on. That's probably going to come out in another year or two. Where you get a little bit of separation where we don't, especially like Dave Bautista said, like he wants to do the third movie and that's it. He's not going to reprise, the role of Drax anymore. And that probably would be the end of the Guardians of the Galaxy by all accounts. But I'm really looking forward to this game. I kind of want to play it. I really do want to play it. I think I'm probably the only one, but I really want to play it.
I don't know. I think the writing is kind of solid. Peter Quill certainly has the quips. He definitely embodies the character in the game. Definitely embodies who the comic book character is and who he is in the movies. Right. So it all kind of comes together. Even though it's
I wonder
a
if they
different
have
voice actor and all
the
that.
Music though, right? Because Guardians of the Galaxy always has old school music. I wonder if they have the licensing for that.
Well, they did reference the ship, the Milano, right? Named after Alyssa Milano, right? The 80s actress who everybody loved, right? And he grew up
who's
in
the boss?
80s.
Oh man, she was my big crush too. Yeah,
that's exactly right. So they have those nods in there. I would have to think that they get some 70s, 80s appropriate music in there. Some stuff that's kind of easy to license, doesn't cost a lot of money, and kind of throw it in the game because that would go a long way. Yeah.
That would. It has to. Right. It has to.
Right.
So, then we got Blood Hunt. Right. I mean, Vampire Blood Hunt. Right? We got a trailer for that. I'm not really hyped for this game. I think this is the second game in the series. Right. I think the original was like a PC game, if I'm not mistaken. We saw this at E3. Wasn't too keen on it then, not too keen on it now, but we know it's coming out for Xbox and PlayStation as long as PC. Then we got sort of an extended trailer for Chia, which I thought was cute, more of like a kids style game, right? In the animations, right?
Kind of the bright cell shaded visuals to it, yeah. But I mean, it was nice to see It was nice to see an African-American protagonist. It was nice to see a woman protagonist. It was nice to see new visuals that weren't in the vein of Ghostwire Tokyo and Forspoken and Project Eve and all the other games, because it's kind of hard to get, to differentiate. Oh, is this game that had this character? And because they're also like similar looking and they have similar gameplay mechanics and whatever else. This was kind of this was the game that stood out, right? Because it just looked that different. So
yeah, and they put it in the right spot to give it its shine. Because after this, the heavy hitters came out. This was all about PlayStation Studios. Right? We got they announced Uncharted 4 and Lost Legacy. It's coming out on PS5 and PC. Right? This is the first time Uncharted would be out on PC. They do have some weird upgrades, right? From PS4 to PS5. I mean, you can play Uncharted 4 on the PS5 already, but I'm sure this is sort of having the box that says Uncharted 4, or with Uncharted Legacy with the PS5 logo. By the way, I know you have a PS5. If you go into PS Plus and there's a tab that says PS4 Collection.
Right.
I don't know if it's still available for you.
Okay.
But I checked it today. It's still there for me, so I'm going to assume it's still there for you. Go in and redeem every game there, even if you already own it.
Just so they're in the account. Yeah.
Just so they're in the account. You have games like The Lost Guardian, Uncharted 4, Battlefield 1,
sure,
right, is there, right?
Sure.
Off the top of my head, I can't even think of all these. It's a lot of PlayStation games. You probably have half of them, not all of them, already physical.
Right.
I don't know if you have, it's not all just PlayStation games though.
Yeah, okay.
Obviously multi, platform games, but
right.
Go in while you still can to redeem them, to have them in your library that you can always just download it and play.
Okay.
So I would say do that while you still can, because they said that they're going to cancel them soon. So I thought they were already canceled, but I still see the tab in PlayStation Plus.
Right. Okay.
Then we got a actual release date, an extended trailer for Gran Turismo 7. It's coming out March 4th, 2022.
Yep. I was surprised. I wasn't surprised to see footage. I was surprised about the release date, because they mentioned it last year, I believe, 2020, right?
Yeah.
And they said it was, PS5 exclusive, and then they eventually said, well, it's also going to be on the PS4 and all that. So I was like, well, that's certainly going to push the timeline out a little bit. Very happy to see this coming out. It does look beautiful, right? We got a little bit more extended gameplay, and, we saw like a montage of you being able to customize your car, which was really cool. And, we saw some shots on the track that were kind of like angled pretty nicely. So, yeah. I mean, like, we kind of called it. We said, hey, we're probably going to see some Gran Turismo footage. I think that may happen, and they delivered,
Yeah, not just that, but the release date. And then,
yeah.
And then every game after this was mic drop after mic drop after mic drop, right?
Mm-hmm.
We got an announcement in the cinematic trailer for Spider-Man 2.
Oh, that's the Green Lantern right there. It's the Green Lantern video game.
No, this is the Spider-Man mug. I said earlier in the show, we got Spider-Man 2 with Miles Morales, Peter Parker, and Miles Morales.
Yep.
So I wonder if you could do couch co-op and play as both Spider-Mans.
Oh my God!
That would be awesome.
Yeah, I would say online co-op probably an easier bet.
Yeah,
but couch co-op would be amazing.
So the voice, sort of Craven, right? Craven, where he's like he's looking for the best, right? He's looking for someone who's going to be, a challenge to him. And then at the end, they had Venom.
Yep.
Oh my God, they had Venom.
Yeah, man.
So Venom is voiced by Tony Todd, the original Candyman. If you're watching the Candyman movies, the movie that just came out, the remake. So he has like a unique, deep voice, which totally fits Venom. And he actually went on record and said, from his knowledge, Spider-Man 2 is massive. It's going to be a massive game.
Sure.
So I hope we get a chance to get outside of Manhattan and go into the other boroughs, at least Brooklyn. Well, Queens at least, right?
Right.
Peter Parker
is
from Queens. So that would be awesome.
So
Spider-Man 2 release window 2023. So
sure.
It's not a game
it's a ways off. Soon. Yeah. Considering they just put Miles Morales out, at the launch of the PS5, right? As like, here's this cross-gen game. Right, it's based on the previous engine and all that. Boom. But it was a brand new game, and it had a bunch of new stuff in there. Continue the story and all that. Super cool. So not surprised about the 2023 release window. What I'm curious about is typically when you hear about Venom and you hear about Spider-Man, you also hear about the Red Menace, Carnage. Do you think he's going to make an appearance in the game?
No.
Really?
I don't think Carnage is going to be in the game. I mean, maybe.
Yeah.
Right? Because Venom started as a villain and became more of an anti-hero. eventually, right?
Right.
And I could see where I don't think Craven isn't a main villain.
Yeah.
Right. I can't. And I mean, maybe Insomniac could make him a main villain in this sense, but he's not a main villain. I'm sorry. He's just not.
He's a B tier villain. Yeah.
He's a level 2 villain. He's not like a main villain. And again, Venom is an anti-villain, so I could see Venom being the villain at the start of the game, where Carnage may be the villain, like maybe the main,
the late game villain, right? The big twist, and they have to team up, right? Unlikely friendship happens, right? Maybe halfway through.
Yeah,
that'd be kind of cool.
Where maybe you could play as Peter Parker Spider-Man, Miles Morales Spider-Man, and then Venom right after you beat him, right? To take on Carnage, since the movie's coming out next year.
Right.
I mean, but that could I just don't want it to be where it's too convoluted, where it's like too many characters, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe Carnage could be.
I mean, it's in good hands, right? You know, it's Insomniac again, right? So
yeah.
You know, they're gonna definitely do it right, whichever direction they take this in.
So Insomniac didn't just show this, but they had a trailer for a game, and we're like, what the hell is this? And it turns out to be a Wolverine game. So they have a partnership with Marvel where they're putting out a Wolverine game. Now, there are a lot of Easter eggs in the trailer, right? The Register, I found out, I was listening to Podcast Beyond. I forgot the actual price, but it had like 1970 something, like 1970 something cents, which was the year that Wolverine was first put out.
Oh, interesting. See,
and it was something about, it was a license plate up on the by the Register that was an Easter egg as well. And I want to say, Wolverine, it looked like, you know, they didn't show his face, but, you know, his arms and his hand looked all bloodied, and he looked a little bit, you know, it could have been beat up. It could be Old Man Logan Wolverine.
That would be awesome, right? Because you always see him in like top form, right? Wearing the spandex outfit and just kicking ass, which is great. Don't get me wrong, but we've done that before, right? I'd like an Old Man Logan smoking cigars. This could be Old Man Logan
where he's not invincible, right? Where you have a little bit of, you know, a little bit down to earth, where, you know, you're not going to just heal off of anything. So this could be an interesting game, and they said it's. I think it would be more linear, right? I don't think it's going to be an open world game. I think it'd be a little bit more. I don't think it'd be open world game like Spider-Man. I think it'd be a little bit more linear, which I'm not mad at, and I'm okay with. Right, because Spider-Man, you can do an open world game because of the web shooting.
You kind of need to, I think, right? If you can
go
train
around
him,
New York,
he needs a big playground to swing in, for sure.
Where Wolverine, you know, it's hard. You know, he's just a person where he's walking and running. Right? There's no spaceships or anything. So having an open world doesn't make sense, right? It makes sense.
How do you get around quickly? Linear. It's like, well, you gonna make him drive in a car? No.
I
don't think I've ever seen Wolverine in a car driving. I mean, I'm sure in the comics maybe, but you really don't.
He's been in the X-Men jet, right?
I mean, sure, yeah. But he's never like sitting in a taxi cab, right? Or driving a Toyota Celica. No, it's not Wolverine.
I know, but in the comics, they've dropped a nuclear bomb where it's just Wolverine at his skeleton and he heals.
Right.
So I can see this being Old Man Logan, where he has a little bit of like vulnerability, which makes sense. For a video game, right?
Sure.
So, and then they end the show with what I told you they would. I told you they would have some gameplay.
I never doubted, man. I was 100% on board.
God of War Ragnarok.
Yep.
That is the actual name. This game is real. It's coming out. No release window. No nothing. Just like Wolverine, I think Wolverine's a 2024 game, to be honest, right? I think this is a game that's coming out after Spider-Man. It's Insomniac's game after Spider-Man 2.
I don't think it's going to be that late, and I think it's going to be a cross-generational game.
What, God of War or Wolverine?
God of War. Wolverine,
okay,
no.
God of War. God of War is definitely a cross-generational game. It's coming out. I believe it will be next year's holiday game.
Sure. Yeah.
But Atreus, he's older. right? He looks like he's more of a teenager. He's talking back to Kratos, right? So he has confidence in himself. He's Kratos' son, and he has confidence. He's talking back. You have everything. You have the head, Mjolnir, right?
Mimir.
Mimir, right? You have...
you got the Blades of Chaos and the axe.
Blades of Chaos, and you have the axe, and it looks like you have chains. You can do a different type of, you can have the enemy up in the sky and bring them down with the chains. I will be curious with this, though. They did have a Marvel logo at the start of this, according to Podcast Beyond.
At God of War?
On God of War. So will they have a tie-in with Thor?
What?
Yeah.
Really?
I was listening to Podcast Beyond, and they said that there was a Marvel logo somewhere in the credits. So will they have a Thor? Will it be Thor that we know of?
Is this how they bridge all of their licenses together? Is Thor the way that they get Kratos into the game MCU?
You never see
the MGU, the Marvel
Thor
game universe.
Spider-Man. Thor and Spider-Man.
Well, I mean, I was kind of thinking that a little bit with Guardians of the Galaxy, right? Because Guardians of the Galaxy, right? That's a known Marvel property. Sony's got Spider-Man. They're doing the Wolverine thing now, so there's the X-Men tie-in. Do they do another Avengers style game where Kratos comes in, right? He's a playable character.
Can Sony do their own MCU style in the video game world?
The MGU or the SGU, the Sony game universe, the Sony Marvel game universe.
That would be awesome. That would be mind blowing, right?
Right.
That would be mind blowing.
Right. There's potentially ways to do it with the games that they announced and with some of the stuff we just talked about.
I would be excited for that, and that would be so. Yeah, that would be unbelievable. That would be mic drop moment, something that Nintendo and Microsoft couldn't even touch.
No.
Right?
No.
So.
Oh.
Wow. I'm looking forward to God of War. I'm
man.
Getting on a PS5 since I have a PS5. I'm looking forward to Wolverine, but that's definitely Wolverine. They did mention that Spider-Man 2 is a PS5 only game, not a cross-gen game, because it's coming out in 2023. Right. So they're not gonna try to make it for PS4.
No, not coming out that late. You would assume by that time, PS5s will be in good quantity, and you can just go to the store and pick one up if you want one.